Moments with God, a time of reflection for every day.
November 7th, Sowing Time. Flee also youthful lusts, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace, with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart. 2 Timothy 2:22. We were between 12 and 13 years old when we started high school. We lived in a small town of about 2,000 inhabitants in our beloved Amazon. Jumbilia was a charming place with its own imposing mountains and beautiful landscapes seen from everywhere. There our beloved lands flourished where life was quiet. But when adolescence began, curiosity about things never before practiced arose. The attractions towards schoolmates began. The love letters, since there were no chats, or the dates in remote places so as not to be seen by anyone. Then the outings to the only bars there were, or to the only place of nightlife, which was a modest disco. When we went to school on Monday, the kids talked about these things, and what did I do on the weekend? Well, I went to church. This was something I didn't like to talk about. The truth is that when youthful passions began to awaken, I had a kind of fence that I couldn't break through. And when I tried to be in places not suitable for Christians, my conscience bothered me for betraying God and His commandments. So having learned the lessons of the Bible in the parental home with a guide that did not allow a deviation toward the follies of youth, youth is the time of sowing, and the seed sown determines the harvest for this life and the next. If correct and virtuous habits are formed in youth, these will generally characterize the conduct of the possessor throughout life. In most cases, it will be found that those who in later life reverence God and honor right have learned that lesson before the world has had time to stamp its image of sin upon the soul. Those of mature age are generally as insensible to new impressions as hardened rock. But youth is impressionable. Youth is the time of acquiring knowledge for daily practice throughout life. It is then that a right character can be easily formed. The only way in which anyone can be protected from the power of intemperance is by abstaining entirely from wine, beer, and strong drink. We must teach our children that in order to be manly, they must not touch these things. God has shown us what constitutes true manhood. He who overcomes will be honored, and his name will not be blotted out of the book of life. In our great cities, there are saloons on the right hand and on the left, tempting the passers-by to indulge an appetite which, once established, is exceedingly difficult to overcome. Young people should be taught never to touch tobacco or intoxicating drink. Alcohol robs men of their reasoning ability, and everywhere there are people with deformed characters who at an early age partook of alcohol or tobacco entered their lungs. There are people who let themselves be overcome by vices. There are people who corral, who are easily irritated, who are bitter all the time, who seem to have problems that are bigger than them, or who are entangled in conflicts that embitter their lives. Flee from youthful passions, says the voice of God. For in youth we must sow those good habits and say no to that which is harmful to life. Amen.
Thank you for listening to this audio. We invite you to share with your contacts and visit the website BibleWell.com.